the MCU won the 2010s. That's just a fact. But while Marvel was building its empire, something else was happening underneath it. On smaller networks, in animated blocks that executives treated like afterthoughts, a different kind of hero was being made. Stranger, darker, more honest. No billion-dollar marketing budgets, just good writing and the right kid watching at the right time. Most of them are gone now, canceled mid-story, buried at 3 a.m., written off a balance sheet. We're going from the ones you probably remember to the ones almost nobody found. A descent into the archive. And the further down we go, the more it's going to hurt. Number 1. The Legend of Korra, 2012. Everyone knows Korra, but not everyone knows what Nickelodeon did to it. The sequel to The Last Airbender premiered in April 2012 and immediately went somewhere its predecessor hadn't. Aang was gentle, spiritually gifted, naturally suited to being the Avatar. Korra was loud, physically aggressive, and genuinely bad at the part of the job that required stillness and wisdom. That gap between who she was and who she was supposed to be was the entire engine of the show. The villains weren't power-hungry warlords. They were ideologues with coherent worldviews. Book 1's Amon argued that bending was inherited privilege, that the non-bending majority had been systematically oppressed by an accident of birth. Even after the show revealed his personal hypocrisy, the structural argument didn't disappear with him. That's the difference between a villain and an argument. A villain you defeat. An argument stays in the room. By book 3, Nickelodeon had lost faith. The show was pulled from TV mid-run, after episode 8, and moved to Nick.com to finish the season digitally. Book 4 was digital only from the start, never airing on television at all. When budget cuts hit, showrunners Brian Konietzko and Michael Dante DiMartino faced a choice: lay off crew or produce a clip show episode to keep everyone paid. They chose the crew. That episode, Remembrances, became infamous among fans. But it was an act of loyalty, not creative surrender. The finale aired online without ceremony. Nickelodeon ran a small Korra-thon on Nicktoons for the hardcore fans, but for the general public, it was just quietly uploaded. Like it was trying not to bother anyone. It also contained one of the most significant relationship acknowledgments in mainstream animation history, handled with complete dignity and zero fanfare. Korra deserved a stadium. It got a stream.
Yes, I'm excited.
Number 2, Young Justice, 2010. There are canceled shows, and then there is Young Justice. It premiered on Cartoon Network in November 2010. Robin, Aqualad, Kid Flash, Superboy, Miss Martian, Artemis. A covert team on missions the Justice League couldn't officially sanction. Serialized, morally layered, built on character architecture most live-action TV wasn't attempting. Superboy's rage at being a clone abandoned by the man whose DNA he carried. Miss Martian's shame hiding beneath the cheerful exterior she'd constructed for human consumption. Aqualad carrying a secret across an entire season before it broke open and recontextualized everything. These weren't subplots, they were the foundation. Cartoon Network canceled it after 2 seasons, mid-story, threads hanging open. The reason wasn't ratings, it was toys. The show had a merchandise deal with Mattel. The toys didn't sell. Creator Greg Weisman has been direct about this. Not the oft-repeated claim about the female audience skewing wrong. That talking point came from Paul Dini discussing a completely different show and got misattributed to Young Justice for years. Just something more straightforward and more damning. Plastic, sitting unsold on shelves, killed a show that millions of people loved. Keep that in your pocket. The toy deal is the villain of this entire video, and you're going to keep seeing its face. The fandom refused to let it die. Years of petitions and organized noise eventually got the show a 3rd season, Young Justice, Outsiders on DC Universe in 2019, and a 4th, Phantoms on HBO Max in 2021. A resurrection that almost never happens at any level of television. The fact that it did is a testament to what this show meant. Before we keep going, drop a comment right now. Which cancellation hit you hardest? We're just getting started, and the algorithm rewards the conversation.
Another satisfied customer.
Number 3. Generator Rex 2010. Created by Man of Action, the studio behind Ben 10. Generator Rex carried the same DNA. Teenage boy, impossible powers, world trying to weaponize him. But where Ben 10 stayed bright and episodic, Rex went darker and more serialized almost immediately. A global nanite explosion has infected every living thing on the planet. Rex can control his nanites, build massive mechanical structures out of his own body, fists, jet wings, a cannon from his back. But the ability that defines him isn't the combat tech, it's the cure. Rex can reach into infected humans, EVOs, people mutated into monsters they never chose to become, and pull them back from the edge. That mechanic was the emotional core. Rex wasn't fighting monsters. He was saving people who had become something they never asked to be. For a generation of kids who felt too complicated, too difficult, too much, that framing hit somewhere real. The show crossed over with Ben 10 in a special titled Ben 10/Generator Rex Heroes United. 3 seasons, a finale that resolved the central threat, and then mostly silence. Rex did surface in the 2021 reboot special Ben Gen 10, but no revival, no legacy of his own. Man of Action kept Ben 10 alive through endless reimaginings. Rex finished its story, took a bow, and disappeared into Ben 10's shadow. Sophisticated enough that older viewers respected it, accessible enough that younger kids loved it, claimed fully by neither.
Who cares?
Number 4, Green Lantern, the animated series 2011. Bruce Timm, the architect of Batman. The animated series, the man who built the DC animated universe, came back to Cartoon Network in late 2011 to rescue a character the Ryan Reynolds film had just destroyed. The movie bombed in June of that year, flooding retail shelves with merchandise nobody wanted. The show was fully CGI, set almost entirely in deep space. It gave Hal Jordan a genuine partner in Kilowog, and built its emotional center around an original character. Razor, a Red Lantern who lost his wife, let grief harden into rage, let rage make him a weapon, and spent 26 episodes trying to find his way back to something human. His relationship with the AI Aya, tender, strange, completely earned, elevated the show somewhere you don't expect a Cartoon Network property to go. The cancellation mechanism was retail. Stores still sitting on clearance lock movie merchandise refused to stock new Green Lantern products. The show was punished for a failure it had nothing to do with. Buried by inventory it never created. The toy deal again, except this time it wasn't even the show's own collapse. It inherited someone else's. The finale left Razor's search for Aya, and the possibility of a Blue Lantern ring, unresolved. Years later, the Young Justice Phantoms episode, Encounter Upon the Razor's Edge, brought him back and addressed that cliffhanger directly. Not the resolution the series deserved, but proof that someone at DC had been paying attention. Number 5. Sym-Bionic Titan, 2010. Genndy Tartakovsky, creator of Dexter's Laboratory, Samurai Jack, Star Wars, The Clone Wars. He came to Cartoon Network in 2010 with an original property, an alien princess, her guardian, and a robot soldier hiding in an American high school while their homeworld fought an invasion. Giant robot battles on the outside, a genuine coming-of-age story underneath. Co-produced with Orphanage Animation Studios, a company that later went defunct, further complicating a rights situation that has kept the show trapped in limbo ever since. The action was spectacular, but what separated it was the quieter work. One episode told the robot's entire backstory through pure visual storytelling. No dialogue, no exposition, just image and music. The kind of thing that gets studied. Cancellation came down to one thing: no toy deal. Tartakovsky had been in negotiations with Bandai. The deal fell apart. Without projected merchandise revenue, Cartoon Network had no financial model. That's the whole story. One of the most artistically ambitious animated series of the decade, canceled because a contract never got signed. With Orphanage Animation gone, a revival becomes even harder to imagine. Tartakovsky went on to Primal, to Hotel Transylvania, to the recognition he deserved. Sym-Bionic Titan never got its second act. It's the entry on this list that makes the people who love it genuinely, quietly furious when they sit with it too long.
Incredibly dangerous. We couldn't have found this.
Number 6. Motor City, 2012. Most animation fans blank on this one. That's the entire tragedy in one sentence. Motor City premiered on Disney XD in May 2012, produced by Titmouse, later responsible for Big Mouth and Kipo. The studio was founded by Chris Pranosky, whose credits stretch back to Beavis and Butthead. Motor City followed the Burners, rebels living underground beneath a corporate megacity controlled by Abraham Cain, a dictator who genuinely believed he was building a utopia. That conviction made him far more unsettling than a simple villain. He didn't want to rule people. He wanted to save them from themselves. The animation was what the creators called tradigital, built in Flash, designed to feel like traditional hand-drawn work. Kinetic, loose, completely distinctive. Mark Hamill played the Duke of Detroit, a chaos agent between the Burners and Kane, stealing every scene he appeared in. Disney XD canceled it after one season. Too idiosyncratic to merchandise. Too specific to market broadly. The toy deal problem didn't even need a formal breakdown. The show never got close enough to a deal for one to collapse. It was cut before that conversation could happen. Motor City became a password among animation fans. The name you dropped to find out if someone was really paying attention during that era, most people weren't. That's the tragedy. Number 7, Beware the Batman, 2013. We've reached the bottom. And this is the darkest entry. Not because of the show itself, but because of what the network did to it. Cartoon Network premiered Beware the Batman in July 2013. CGI animation, angular and clean. A noir procedural tone that felt genuinely different from every other Batman adaptation. Deep-cut villains most viewers had never encountered. Anarchy, Professor Pig, Magpie, chosen specifically to avoid retreading familiar ground. Alfred reimagined as a former MI6 operative. Katana as Batman's field partner instead of Robin. Real creative risks with a character who gets adapted constantly, executed with craft and confidence. 13 episodes aired. Then Cartoon Network pulled it without explanation. The remaining 15 episodes were burned off on Toonami's Adult Swim block at 3 a.m., a late-night slot built for mature audiences, effectively hiding a Batman cartoon from the children it was made for while most of the country slept. Then the final chapter, Beware the Batman, was written off as a financial loss. A tax write-down, similar in structure to what later happened to Batgirl and Coyote vs. Acme. Because of that write-down, WB's ability to air or sell the show was legally restricted for a set period, making distribution functionally impossible. The accounting department got more use out of it than the programming department ever did. The small audience that found it, passing links around, setting alarms for 3 a.m., still holds it up as one of the most underrated Batman productions ever made. The quality was real, the ambition was real, the show was buried before it could be discovered, then written off so the network could recover a few dollars from the wreckage. The villain of this entire decade wasn't a supervillain, it was a toy deal. Young Justice, Green Lantern, Sym-Bionic Titan. Not canceled because the writing failed or the audience left, but because plastic didn't move off shelves fast enough. Motor City never got a deal to fail. Beware, the Batman got written off a ledger. The mechanism changed. The result was always the same. These shows didn't fail. They were failed. By networks that measured the wrong things, by retail systems that punished good television for bad movies, by an industry that couldn't figure out how to value what it had until it was already gone. But here's what the toy deal could never touch. The years of fan campaigns that pulled Young Justice back from the dead, twice, across 2 streaming platforms. Razor reappearing in Phantoms because someone at DC refused to let him go. The corners of the internet that kept Motor City and Sym-Bionic Titan alive in video essays and comment sections long after the network stopped caring. These stories survived because people refused to let them disappear. If this video meant something to you, subscribe. That's how we keep doing this. Every subscriber is one more person who gets pulled into the archive the next time we go digging. And we are always going digging because the shows are still down there and they deserve to be found.